course, it's Wonder Boy. Stephen Thompson's back here in the program. Rory MacDonald, UFC Fight Night 89. If you guys have been sleeping under a rock, I mean, this is obviously one of the biggest fights coming up to date. Your rise has been crazy, coming through. I read something the other day. Usually start with how's your training camp, how you doing, all that crap. But I saw something from McDonald. He was kind of upset that Woodley got the nod against Lawler next for the title fight. And I'm sitting here thinking, well, you got a fight coming up. You got to worry about the fight that's in front of you. You can't be worrying about what else is going on. You can't be worrying about some other guy's fight. So, what did you think when you saw that Woodley was going to get the nod against Lawler?
Well, when before then, I already had planned. It already was in set that I was fighting Rory. So, before that, I was thinking I was going to get the title shot. After defeating Johnny Hendricks in the first round, former welterweight champion, and we got the word that I think there was a lot of things going on at the time. Wasn't really sure who was going to fight him. I mean, there was word if Conor McGregor won the fight, he was going to fight Robbie Lawler. So there was a lot of things up in the air. There was word that George was coming back. So we had already set to fight Rory, and then. A few weeks down the road, it was Tyrone's going to fight him in Atlanta, which is like 2 hours away from me. It's almost, close to my hometown. So I was like, man, why couldn't they have given me that fight? I mean, it was cool that the UFC was like, because they promised him the shot. At least the UFC is going, hey, you know what? We promised you the shot. We're going to give it to you. So.
Oh, yeah, but how many times has the UFC been like, no, they're next in line. Oh, never mind. This other person's next in line. They're the 24,000 pound elephant in the room. They can say and do whatever they want, and it works. Like, it works for us as fans, where you're like, okay, well, I'm not super excited about Woodley Lawler. Then I saw them sit down and talk to each other. Now I'm kind of interested in Woodley Lawler, and then Fight Night, I'll be all about it and all hyped up, and it's the they can do whatever the hell they want. Like, it doesn't matter, who they promise. And it's kind of like, I get what Rory's saying. But I also know that he just lost to Lawler, and he's got to get himself back in there again. And you can't be like, oh, well, I should have an immediate rematch because our fight was so close kind of thing. So it's just interesting to get your take on it as a challenger when you were like, hey, look, I might be able to get in, but now they promised Woodley, and Woodley's getting it. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't like that at all. I mean, I was upset. I really was upset. I was like, man, they should give me that. And then they give me somebody who's already fought for it like months before July, it was like, are they giving him a third shot at it or what's going on, but man, I mean, I look at it as it right now, it's going to happen. So I have to keep my mind focused on it. Yeah. There's one guy that's in front of me, and that's Rory. But, going back to the Tyrone and Lawler fight, man, I think Lawler's got it. I mean, it's been a while since Tyrone's fought, maybe a little cage rust. And, but then again, Lawler has been through some wars. I mean, his last two, one with Rory and the one with Carlos Condit. Yeah. Man, he took some shots, took a lot of damage. So it's kind of up in the air right now, man. I'm really who's gonna get it. I would like to face out of both those. I would like to face Robbie.
Yeah, of course. You want to have the tougher guy, the tougher opponent. You want to be able to step in and say, look, I had the best guy at the weight class was there, was ready to go, and I didn't sneak in. I worked my way in, and this is what happens. You win that belt that way. So I get it. I completely get it. And for folks at home that don't really know, we're talking about Patrick Cote, Ellenberger, Hendricks, Whitaker, Burnell. Like you've run through a lot of guys to get to the position you're in now. And honestly, it's going to be, you can look at it any way you want, but the matchmaking is kind of set up. The winner between you two is going to face the winner of Woodley and Lawler, and Hendricks is kind of out there now in no man's land trying to figure it out. And that's just kind of how the sport is going right now. That's just how it is. And it could change in 3 months. It could be a completely different look in 3 months. Even though you win and Lawler wins, we could be having a different conversation because that's how quick the sport's
true.
So
exactly, and like you said, you hit it right on the head. I mean, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. You have no idea what to expect when it comes to the UFC, So.
Or MMA at all.
After this fight.
Let alone UFC MMA. It's crazy. I mean, who picked Bisping to beat Rockhold? He opened up as a 10-1 underdog, closed as a 7-1 underdog, and starches him. Like, you're like, come on, man.
And now what's going to go? Like, I talked to Chris directly after that fight. He's like, I don't even know what's going to happen now. I mean, they figured that Luke was just going to crush him, right? And the next thing you know, you'll have the Chris Weidman and Luke fight again. But now, since he won, what happens next? I mean, are they going to give it to Chris? Are they going to give it to Jacare?
I don't know. I heard rumor it could be Henderson. I heard rumor it could be Henderson because Bisping wants to avenge the loss of Henderson. That's the rumor I heard. But I have no confirmation on that as of at the time of this interview. I have no confirmation on that. By the time this airs, it could easily have already been confirmed. I have no idea. Like it's crazy. You know what goes on? All of a sudden now Henderson is like, I might think about. Let's just say the rumor is true. Let's take it for. Or I'm a mark. I'm a complete mark. When I hear rumors like that, I'm like, oh, it's 100% going to happen. Like I'm that guy. So let's say it's true. Henderson last Saturday was talking about. This might be my last fight. I got to get home. Got to relax. Got to think about it. Talk to my wife. Talk to my kids. This could be it for me. To all of a sudden getting home and having the little banner on his garage door when he gets back to Temecula. To all of a sudden, oh crap, I'm in a title fight. Like I'm back. Like I'm in, and he could win the fight and retire as champ. Like this is literally 72 hours. The world changed. It's crazy.
Wow. And how was he? 46?
Yeah, it's 46.
But I didn't actually see that fight. I heard he was getting crushed, like just getting hammered by.
No, he was getting outsped, outpositioned. He was always in the game. He kept hitting. He was always in the game with that big overhand right. He kept getting in there, but he couldn't catch him. He couldn't catch Hector. Hector's just too quick. He's too short. Center of gravity's too small. The one time Danny tied up with him and tried to get a little half Greco shot on the way down, Lombard reversed it and ended up on top, and then Danny had to kind of survive himself out of it, and then that is what put Lombard in the problem. So you go back and look at position 0 where the tide kind of changed. So you look at it, he's like, now he's confident, realizing that whenever Dan steps into him, I can judo throw him and end up on top. So no matter what's going on, I will end up on top. So now what happens is he believes he can shoot and take Dan down. Well, we're talking about judo is reactive. So a guy steps in and grabs a hold of you, you react and throw him, right? Wrestling is all about position and control and controlling that man's hips and controlling that man's body. So Hector shoots on Dan's leg and starts running for it on a single, and Dan pushes his head down and kind of missed. Oh, no, he throws a big right hand and misses completely. Oh, gotcha. Hector comes underneath it, gets his leg, and Dan just violently comes back with that elbow. Bang! Catches him right in the temple and dropped him. So he misses and comes back and hits him and puts him out. And it's because what happens is Hector's like, I can't shoot on Dan. I'm quicker, I'm faster, but I'm going to wait for him to make a mistake and throw him and end up on top. It worked. Now I can shoot on him because I can take him down. Now I can take him down. Different ballgame. You went to Dan's world. Dan's good on one foot. He's good with his leg up in the air. And like I said, he threw his big haymaker, completely off balance. Shoulders don't turn, hips don't turn. Throws everything into that right hand. Missed. Bink. Catches him unconscious. That's it. Fight's over.
Man, the power you get, especially on one leg, when your leg's up in the air like that, that's difficult. That's hard to do. You know what I mean? Come back with that elbow with your leg up in the air. You're wanting to lean back. Man,
same leg, same elbow. So he's got his right leg in the air and same elbow. So it's the right elbow, right leg. Right leg's in the air and he hits it. So it's even worse. When we talk about opposite elbow trying to hit him, he literally had to leave his feet to throw that elbow that hard, but he didn't. He's just that strong.
Wow.
So Dan has slowed down. He has slowed down. But his age has caused that to happen, but his age has caused him to be smarter. So when he lacks his speed, he makes up for it. Say that. Yeah, it's amazing. Yep. That fight was incredible.
And if he does get that shot, I see him just putting him to sleep again with that one hitter quitter, big H-bomb, man. Yeah. And for some reason, that's like the only thing he's got. Yeah, he's got some wrestling, but the only strike he's got is that big overhand right. But he hits everybody with. It's like a big country.
Yeah.
Everybody knows what he's got, but he always seems to land it for somehow.
Finds a way to put you to sleep. It's crazy.
Exactly.
So obviously, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I was just going back and just thinking about matchups. This is, me fighting Rory. It is a scary matchup for me. I mean, he's the best well-rounded fighter that I've faced so far, and he's dangerous. I mean, that's why he's in the top of the game for a long time. And I was upset just because he's a buddy of mine. Mm-hmm. I've known each other for years since the first time I've been up to the Tri-States. I was even doing MMA, going up training with Chris for his camps, and I found myself learning the wrestling and the jiu-jitsu because I put it on the back burner because I was focused on kickboxing. But I found myself learning the wrestling and the jiu-jitsu just to be a better sparring partner for George. That's how I ended up meeting Rory and becoming good friends with those guys. We never really sparred, but we drilled a lot. But I'm just thinking, after that Hendricks fight, that could have been it. I could be fighting for the title now, but now I'm facing one of the scariest guys in the division. You know.
You think Roy's scarier than Lawler? For you?
I mean, just because he's better, well-rounded. If you see Lawler, you knows what he got. You know, very rarely he doesn't ever shoot for the legs. It's not like he's going to try and take you down. For me, just for my style, I think it would be a lot easier. He's a tough guy, which he has tons of heart. Talking about Lawler, and he just beats people with will, man. Mm-hmm. I mean, he took some shots his last fight with Carlos Condit. You saw it with Rory MacDonald, and he was dazed. You see, he got him staggered. But fourth and fifth round, he just gets this look in his face, spitting out blood, and just says, "Let's freaking go, man!" Yeah. And just beats him, just breaks their will. And he's got tons of that. But those are the type of guys that stand in there in front of him and try to duke it out. He's good at luring guys into his game plan.
Yeah, he really is. Really good.
With my movement and things, and just my style, I think it'd be more of a difficult situation with him for him.
So let's talk about Rory then, because you're talking about Lawler does what Lawler does. He's going to come up there and get you in the pocket, then going to shoot. They're looking at your tape and they're going, okay, he's going to have some spinning crazy back kicks and weird off angle punches, but that's what Thompson's got. So he's not going to hit me with many things that much different than what I've seen his last 3, 4, 5 fights, right? Yeah. So now Rory, he's training for you. He's trying to get ready for you. What's his approach, do you think?
Well, I know he's bringing in karate fighters. You brought in Raymond Daniels, who fights for Glory. He's a good karate fighter. Michael Page Venom, who fights for Bellator. Crazy karate fighter as well. Some Australian karate fighter he brought in as well. He's bringing these guys. I don't know if they're bringing him in maybe to try and time the shot, or just to get a feel of what it's going to be like out there with me, because it is a different feel and it can be a lot of really frustrating. And that's something I experienced early on in age. Actually, when I would spar with my sister, it's just such a frustrating style. You don't know what is going. You don't know. You're switching sides. You don't know if it's a kick going to be coming. Where is the kick coming from? They're bringing that front leg up. Oh, it's going to be a round kick. Nope, it's a hook kick. So it's very frustrating. And of course, you saw it a lot when I fought Hendricks. He just drops his hands and shakes his head like he didn't know what to do. Mm-hmm. So I think he's bringing these guys in just to get a feel of my movement. And maybe use it to the shot for me to blitz in. That's it, man. I think he's going to want to try and get me to the ground. I mean, pretty much everybody I face, they do that.
Right.
They want to get me to the cage. And they use strategies in the past with George whenever you fought Carlos Condit and Thiago Alves, get you to the cage, try and tire your arms out. That way, back out in the center of the cage, I'm a little bit slower. So I know that. So I'm, working a lot on my hand fighting and obviously working my wrestling to keep the fight standing where I want it to be. So that's the thing. But when you see him, he evolves. He's a very young fighter, so he's always getting better at his style. So yeah, which is why I'm kind of excited about it, because I don't know what he's going to be bringing. What is he going to come out right side forward? He's going to come out left side forward. He's going to go shoot straight for the legs. It's different from when I fought Hendricks. If you've seen Hendricks fight once, you've seen him fight 100 times.
Yeah.
You know exactly what he's going to do. With Rory, it's different.
Do you feel a little more added pressure because you're going up to Ottawa to face him as opposed to being in Atlanta, 2 miles away from the house?
Actually, I feel more pressure being here because I know everybody I know is going to be there. In Ottawa, I understand that the fans are going to be behind Rory. That's their hometown guy. But I've fought in arenas many times in people's backyards. It doesn't really bother me. Competed in Montreal a few times and fought in Toronto when I fought Chris Clement, so I'm kind of used to that. I've been there for that. The fans are crazy, and but hey, man, I don't care. I'm just going to go out there and do what I do, baby.
So I make the assumption, as I said earlier, the winner of this fight goes on and faces the winner of Lawler-Woodley. What happens if it's not? You win this fight, you knock him out in the second round, devastatingly head kick, hook kick right to the temple, drops him, puts him to sleep. Amazing, crowd goes quiet. Everyone at home is shaking their TVs because you win so dramatically, and then they give the fight to somebody else. They give the title fight to somebody else. They give it to Hendricks. Hendricks walks back against anybody. They give it to anybody else.
Yeah.
What happens to you?
Demian Maia, possibly.
Yeah.
You know what? I mean, what could you do? I mean, after this fight, it's getting to the point where I'm demanding it. I'm not going to do anything else until I get that shot. I mean, I think that if I go out there and I prove myself against Rory, who else is there? You know what I mean?
You're willing to sit. You're willing to sit until you get the title shot. If they decide somebody else gets it first.
See, that's the thing. Like there would be nobody else for me to face to actually progress where I'm going. There would be nobody else that people would want to see me fight. You know, they were actually begging for me to fight Lawler after my last one. You know, and
well, there's always the opportunity. Like, I mean, I think Lawler wins. I like both guys, first of all, but I think Lawler wins the fight as well. But say Woodley wins, all of a sudden now you can have the Lawler fight, but it's not a title shot, and he's not the champ anymore. So that Lawler fight could still happen if the right four comes together. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, there's a lot of different formulas that get mixed into. I just want to see your attitude, like, but you're right. Who's left? If it's not the winner of those two, then Lawler makes sense next. If he loses, but I just don't see him losing to Woodley. I just don't see it happening.
I don't see it either.
You know, it's
I
going
don't
to be.
see it either, man. I mean, the only person that I could see, for some freakish reason, would be Demian. I mean, that's it. That would be it. But I don't know who would want to see that fight. I think it would be a very boring fight for the fans.
Demian is a tremendously boring fighter. Tremendously boring because he just
agreed.
He's like an octopus. You can't move.
Yeah.
And all you're doing is the whole time you're underneath. To me, it's amazing because I understand what he's doing. So it's incredible to watch him. I'm glued to the TV every time he moves. But every position you jump to get him off you, he's already got you covered 3 steps before. So there's no place for you to go.
And he's so strong in that clinch position. I mean, if you saw when he fought Matt Brown, whenever he got on Matt Brown's leg, there was no getting that sucker out. It was like a vice grip. Like he wasn't letting it go. Third round, I figured Matt Brown could have done a little bit better. Whenever he hit him in the face, Demian went down, and he jumps in his guard. I'm like, what are you doing? This is like one of the best grapplers, probably in the UFC right now.
I believe.
And you're jumping into his guard. And then he ended up taking his back. You know what I mean? Yeah. To a guy like that, you really have to keep it long. And man, tire him out. I mean, there's going to be a point where he's going to get you down. Your defense is going to have to be on point, like I said. And he started tiring out big time in the third round. You know, he started slow. His shots got it sloppy. He just went to his back. I think he played it off. I think he acted like he was hurt to make Matt Brown jump in. And the next thing you know, he was like, all right, yes.
Caught him, done. Yeah, I know. That's crazy. Yeah. Man, real quick before we get out of here, how's the old man doing? Good?
Oh, Pops, man, he's doing good, man. He's excited. He's back home right now. He's been driving around his new 66 Chevrolet Impala Super Sport, 1966. Yeah.
What
Thanks,
the
bad.
hell?
Yeah, well, he's into classic cars, man. That was his very first car ever. He lived it back down in Charleston. His dad bought him when it was an inline 6. This one's a big V8. I mean, he's decked it out, man. It looks awesome. So,
it is summertime.
Man.
It is summertime.
I know it.
Time to bring the rides out. Yeah.
Exactly. But he's doing good, man. I'll tell him that you talked.
Yeah, I like it's good. It's really tough to find a lot of dads and sons work together, but it's really tough to find a great tandem like you two have, where he not only knows how to push you, but also knows when to back off. Dads, right. And I'm guilty of it too. That's why I don't coach my kids. I just want to do it again. You can get 10 more reps. I know you have it in you, and it's like sometimes you have to play that game of like backing off and stuff. So it's great watching the respect you two have for each other as coach and student, but also as father and son. And it's two separate things. And you guys know how to play. Right now I'm a son, and right now I'm a student. I gotta listen. So
yeah, and that's the thing. Like being able to separate it, and knowing that whenever I step in the gym, whenever I step foot, my dad, he's the man. He's the coach, and that's something that I kind of had to learn. At a young age, he's been there since day one. And so I understand that he's trained a lot of world champions. So I respect him. I know he knows what he's talking about. Outside, yeah, like you said, we're just father son. We don't even talk about the fights, man.
Yeah.
Only time we talk about is when we're in the gym, when we're training, we're watching footage. Outside, it's just father son, man. We shoot the shit and we hang out.
That's awesome. Stephen Thompson's got Rory MacDonald coming up. UFC Fight Night 89, Ottawa, June 18th.
Ottawa.
Yeah, I know, man. And still, it'll be warm. It'll be warm-ish up there. A lot of bugs.
I hope so.
A lot of bugs.
I can't be handling the cold stuff, man. I'm in South Carolina, hot and humid. That's what I'm used to.
Yep, I like it. I can't stand it. That's why I kept moving further and further west. I got to get away from winters. I can't stand them anymore. Yeah. Well, take care, brother. We'll talk again after the fight. I'll check in with you via texting too to see how you're doing.
Sounds good.
Going.
Always a pleasure, my friend.
Thanks, brother. Have a great rest of your training camp. We'll talk soon.
Thank you. Bye.